Hello guys, welcome to Educatify. This is part 1 of a brand new series of web development. In this series, we are going to learn some of the basic and advanced concepts in the web development. Now, I'm familiar that there are already tons of videos and tons of tutorials and crash courses on web development, but I assure you that after finishing this web series, you'll get some benefit and you'll learn some new concepts from me. First things first, this video series is designed in a way that first we learn some of the basic concepts of web development and then I'll dive into the advanced topics. Now, if you don't have any previous knowledge, there is no need to worry because after finishing this series, you'll be able to build fully interactive and responsive websites. I'll try to give you the most modern skill set so that you'll be able to uh, get a job as a junior developer, at least, or land an internship. Now, whenever you hear this word web development, there are some of the terms that comes into your mind, and these terms often come in a group, and this group consists of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Although I've included Bootstrap as well because I believe that Bootstrap is a very useful tool not only for beginners but for the advanced developers as well. But I'll also describe you what is Bootstrap. But for now, just focus on the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So without HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you cannot build a website. Simple as that. Although you can create the designing and the front end of any website by using HTML and CSS, but in order to make it functional, you have to use the JavaScript. So students often get confused that what is the use of HTML and what is the use of CSS and why we use JavaScript. I'm going to break down all these points in a great detail. First of all, I'll talk about the HTML. I believe that you have heard this word already, what HTML is, but you don't know what is the function of HTML. Or if you know, then just revise this once again. So HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it was introduced by Tim Berners-Lee. Now, what is HTML used for? HTML is used to describe the structure of a web page. It is also used to make the layout of a web page. You can build the layout by using tables and all those stuff, but I'll just say that you should not do that because today what we use is CSS. We use CSS for the layouts. We use grids and flexboxes for the layout, not the tables for the layout. So instead of using HTML as a layout, you should just focus on designing the structure, that where should be the header section, where should be the content section, where should be the footer section. Okay, so there's no need to design the layout of your website using HTML. You should just use the HTML to style the structure, to make the structure of your website. Okay, as you can see in this picture, we've got a page. You can consider this page as a web page, and we have divided this page into different sections: header section, navigation bar, content section, footer section, index section, and then we'll inject our content into these sections. These all tasks are done by HTML. So I can say that HTML is the foundation of all the web development. Without HTML, we cannot make any website. So this is HTML, and although uh, it looks easy, and yeah, it is easy, but it is very powerful. And the first thing that a web developer should know is the HTML. An HTML file is a plain text file with the .html extension, and every page has a large container that is HTML, and then some subcontainers like header and body, but I'll discuss those in some of the later videos. For now, just keep this thing in your mind that we use HTML to give a structure, a skeleton to our web page. I believe that now you're familiar with the HTML. Now I'll move toward the CSS. So what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So why we use these cascading style sheets? We use these cascading style sheets to describe the style of an HTML document. For example, if you focus, in my previous slides, the background color was different, the font color was different, the font size was a bit different. So changing these properties, the background color, the font styles, the font size, the font form, different formats of your document, to add transition in your document, to add animation in your document, and to even make the layout of your website, you can use CSS. And CSS is very useful tool for the web developers. Without CSS, obviously you cannot style your website, and it will not look presentable. And apart from that, CSS can also be used for different purposes, like I told you earlier, for adding animations and for adding transition, for beautifying your website, to make your website a little bit appealing. Now we'll do the practical work in our next videos, but I just want to tell you for now that CSS is used to add styles to your document. And what is document? Document is document that contains your HTML, nothing else. So one more thing that I want to discuss with you is that what I think, this is my personal opinion, that CSS is very easy to learn. There is nothing difficult in CSS as far as the beginning concepts. You can easily do anything in CSS. You can easily change the background color. You can easily change the font styles and all those kind of stuff. But there are certain topics in the CSS that are hard to master, and you need a good amount of practice. For example, to understand grids completely and to use flex boxes, you have to do a little bit of practice for that. But we'll discuss all these things in very great detail in our upcoming videos. The next thing that I want to share with you is the Bootstrap. Now, I've included Bootstrap in this stack of our development, which we're going to learn. Although what most of the people do, they just teach HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that's it. That's for the front end. But I think that you should learn Bootstrap as well. Now, Bootstrap is a free and open source CSS framework, and this frameworks can save a lot of time for us, lot of time for us. It is a front-end framework that is developed to support creating dynamic websites and web applications. It is one of the most preferred front-end frameworks, not preferred, but also one of the most popular front-end framework, as it aids an easy and fast processing to develop a website. Now, what actually Bootstrap does is that it consists of HTML and CSS based design templates for various interface components. Like you can use Bootstrap buttons, Bootstrap form controls, Bootstrap navigations, and different other interface components. So in this way, instead of making our custom buttons and making our custom navigation bars, which will take a lot of time for the beginners, you can just use the pre-built library that is Bootstrap. And it can save a lot of time, and it is very easy to use as well. Just include a CDN in the header section of your document, download the Bootstrap files and include them in your project. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. So I think that Bootstrap is a very powerful and very easy to use framework. Another thing, the last thing for our video, and it is one of the most important and one of the most popular language in the web development. Although JavaScript is just not confined to the web development, it can be used for multiple purposes. But our domain is, web development, so I'll just talk about the web development. So basically, JavaScript is used to manipulate the website content. It is used to modify the website content, like JavaScript decides that how the website will behave on users' action. Like for example, you have built the website using HTML and CSS, and the website is looking very cool. Okay, that's great. But what if the user clicks on a button, and after the click you want to change the text of that button, or you want to change the color of that button? What will you do? For that purpose, we have to use a JavaScript. Another example, you have saw that on desktop uh, websites, we have got a sidebar. Sometimes we've got a sidebar, but as we shrink the page on the mobile view, that sidebar gets hidden. Now, how we have achieved this functionality? we have achieved this functionality by using the JavaScript. So there are multiple functions of JavaScript which we will discuss in a very great detail. I will also discuss different libraries of JavaScript. One of them will be the jQuery, which is again very important and it is different from the plain vanilla JavaScript. So in our upcoming videos, I'll discuss all the topics that I discussed today in a more detail. So giving you an overview at the end, we learned that why we use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. What is the purpose of Bootstrap? And hopefully, I think that you have understood all these clearly. And if you have any query or any question or any confusion, you can comment down below. That's all for today. Thank you so much.